Alright, I'm going to do, or attempt to do, a fast mirror card scene here using Lakeside Cove and a tropical scene. We're going to do it on lapis lazuli here, which is a Stardream iridescent paper. And we'll see how this comes together. I'm going to be doing, I consider it a quick scene here, and I've done some techniques before, but I'm going to be trying a couple different things that I haven't before, okay, and we'll see how it goes. Mainly, getting this large Seaside Cove image onto this foil here, and I usually do a lot of blocking out, but I'm not going to do it there, so we'll see how it goes. Hello, Tammy. Hello, Beverly. Always great to see you. We're going to try something quick here, and hopefully I won't be putting people to sleep, and keeping people, up past their bedtimes again, like I always do on these. Hello, Cindy. Hello, Beth. All right, so foil card. Hello, Don. Third in a row, that's about right. Lapis lazuli, Stardream iridescent paper. Foil down below, okay? And we're going to be doing two different colors, okay? So this should go a lot faster. I don't see how it can't, okay? So we'll see how it goes. Well, you won't need too much time. PJB Stamper, burgers, almost done on the grill. Well, you might not be done. Yeah, we'll see you, go and have fun with that. We're going to eat burgers later on tonight, too. So, hello, Froggy Fresh, Diana, good to see you all. All right, so let's just get this going here. Okay, I'm stamping. This was a really large stamp right here, okay? I'm going to attempt something on this one using this foil piece. I'm going to just see if it works or not. And on the foil, of course, if it doesn't work, you can just wipe it. We can just wipe it right off, okay? I did this test, I don't know, about maybe it's been a couple years at this point in time, but let's see here. Let's see how this goes, okay? So, a lot of people buy this stamp unmounted, okay? And what a lot of times what you need is, you need some sort of flat surface to use it with, right? To mount it on. But what I tried, if you're doing it on a quarter-page piece of paper, white paper, whatever, okay? I think that just laying it down like this on top of here, of course, once you lay this piece of paper down, you can't move it around, otherwise it's going to smear a little bit. So be careful about that. But if we just go like this, in theory, okay, I've done this once before too, okay? And we just take a brayer or whatnot. Most of us, I don't know, do you guys have brayers? Go like this, okay? And brayer across like so. All right, I'm brayering onto the black there a little bit, but like that. And it might be just kind of an easier process than mounting up a large stamp like this, okay? And going like this, and there we have it, okay? So there's our impression right there. It looks like we got a pretty full impression. All right, and it's nice and crisp, all right? So so this is what I'm doing here. This is going to be a tropical kind of island type of thing. We have some palm trees coming up like this. But if I'm doing that against the lapis lazuli, which is a dark blue paper, like this, all right, in order for this palm island to show up, right, I'm going to have to add a lot of lighter tones down here. So I would do that with some cloud formations, okay? So again, I think this should go reasonably fast. All right, now one of the things I don't do is down here in these waves down here, it's kind of hard to show this, but I usually block that off with a little bit of white, okay? Anything that's supposed to be white, I usually block it off first, but it's really hard to tell exactly where all that's going to be naturally on this type of image. If it's a big rock, I just block off the whole thing, but I want those areas in the waves to be reflective, so I didn't do any blocking out, and let's just see how it goes. All right, so that being said, I hope everyone's doing well tonight. It's dinner time in some areas. It's dinner time for me now too, but my son's going to parkour tonight, so to the gym, in other words. So they just took off. So I said, okay, if you guys are going open gym tonight, I'm going online. I'm stamping. All right. So on the lapis lazuli, okay, there we go. On the lapis lazuli, it's a little bit of a coated paper, okay? I have stamped on it in dye-based inks before, and I think it did work, but the brilliance is just going to dry so much faster first, so I'm using that one. All right, so let's go about like so. Okay, now remember, this is going to be a mirror card, so if I want this moon to show up fairly distinctly, I'm going to stamp it a little bit lower on the horizon. I mean, I don't need to go like that far, but we'll go about like so because I want those Palm Islands to kind of be right, in this general area here, okay? All right, so, let me see. Should I do... Okay, let's white this out first, okay? I could stamp this first and then add the white in there, but I might lose a lot of these forms, so let's keep those fairly crisp. I might go white and then black and then white again over the top of it in the more specific areas, okay? All right. Yeah, where is everyone? Ohio. I think we've mentioned this before. I always forget about those types of things. I have a bad memory. I'm in the West Coast, San Diego. All right, let's see. Let's start off with a fresh cotton ball, okay? All right, so I'm just going to be getting this area down here, just in general, a little bit of a cloudy texture. Let's get our cloud template going right here, right? Sometimes I do better at ripping than others. Let's get it a little bit more varied here, okay? Now remember, when you do these little templates in this style of, I don't know, whatever, cloud formations, when you lay this down like this and you start adding in some ink, you don't have to keep this like still. It's almost better if you kind of keep it moving around a little bit, okay? That is what is always interesting to me about the internet. It's like people are from all over. Look at that, Scotland, Maine, Washington, Texas, Seattle, on all those little game applications that the kids play, and I do too, I guess. I started playing these games, and what happens is I play it with my son, who was little at the time. He starts these different apps and starts these teams, and then what happens is the kids quit because they lose interest. So it's like a bunch of us adults playing these, phone type apps or tablet type apps. And it's like okay, my son quit, but there's 20 people on the team, so it's like the adults go, and once in a while it's like, where's everyone from, and how'd you just start playing? It's like, oh yeah, my kid started playing, then he quit. So it's like, oh, there's a bunch of like dads playing or something like that on these teams. But everyone's from all over the place, though, all over the world. Okay, so adding clouds down like so, and like I said, just kind of keep it moving, okay? And if you do just keep it like that, then after you take it off, then go up and down in there, okay? You can apply inks. Sometimes it's faster to twirl it around like this. Sometimes you go dabbing. If you want like a thicker application and a brighter cloud, then just dab it on like that. I re-inked a couple of my pads here, so they're really quite inked up. I'm getting little, bits around here too, but okay, so just keeping this in mind, my moon is going to be going right in here. All right, so let's go for another one out here. You can flip these over and go for a different shape if you want to. Don't worry about getting smudges, okay. Hello, everyone. If anyone just joined in and said hi, hello. Good to see you. Thanks for joining in. We're doing a quick application. Every time I say quick application, it's like I stop the video and it gives me the timestamp, and it's like, oh, so this quicker version ended up being like twice as long, like yesterday's. But I did two, took two cards yesterday, so. But I don't know. We start talking about inks and things like that, and I don't know. It just goes on. It's kind of fun talking all things stamping and materials, which I don't always do or get to. Okay, or I don't get to talk about it with others, which is fun, I should say. I do videos on them, but kind of having a discussion is nice. Okay, so there's those clouds right down there, and see, one of them's lighter, one of them's brighter, being that this is going to be kind of that reflective type of look, like this, we can get our kind of a good idea, or a little bit of an idea, I should say, on how this is going to look. Periodically hold it. Look at that cloud and that reflection down there. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to have to put my moon pretty low down here so that it shows up right there. It almost looks good just with the clouds there, doesn't it? Okay, so let's put some clouds up top here like this so that they'll be bottom lit, okay? All right, so let's give that a shot. I think that's going to work out pretty well with that Seaside Cove down here, huh? Okay, well, let's keep going here. It almost looks good just with the clouds. People say, don't stamp those, those islands down there. I don't want it to be that quick a, scene, though. Let's add some stuff in here. Okay, so I'm kind of building that out, and see how much more billowy it looks, okay? Doing your freeform cloud. Hey, I love cloud templates too, but I don't know, I like this kind of more freeform look as well. To me, it looks really kind of natural and, I don't know, real iridescent and reflective, like so. All right, so coming in like this, masking off like so. Okay, so if you're having clouds above a moon, okay, and it's going to represent bottom lighting, we'll go like this, and we'll turn this over, and we'll go from kind of bottom up, okay? So this is, when I'm doing it this way, I'm toning in from top down, okay? So I get this nice transition of the most illuminated part of the cloud. Farther away, it gets darker. So remember that cloud, or that moon, will be roughly in this area. So I'm going to go like this, and we'll go from the bottom up, okay? I'll just show you how fast this can really be, okay? So I'm adding it down there. It's fairly thick, all right? You just keep moving it around like this. Okay, so there's that bottom lit cloud. And then the whole thing is kind of transitioning it. I mean, you can freeform it too. You don't have to have that template in there. All right, just move it around like this. Doing this type of thing really gets a good amount on there, and then you can just kind of build it up wherever you want to. Or if you ever put too much, just take your clean side and just remove it like that. Okay. Wait, where are you again, Kay? You're going to get into the hundreds. It was starting to get a little bit warm by us, but I don't think we're even in the 80s yet. We're kind of in June gloom here. But it was warm today. All right, so see this right here? Moving it around. And one of the things too is you can keep areas a little bit crisp, and you can kind of contrast it with softer applications like that. But just in general, kind of keep it going in terms of your lighting direction. Bottom lit area, is a little bit more illuminated. I think it makes a kind of a stronger case for light sources and reflected light. That's pretty warm. Is that the typical temperatures out there for you, Dawn, or is it usually cooler at this point in time? I want to get out for some desert hiking, but you know, now that my son's going to be out of school this week, but it's probably 100 degrees out in Joshua Tree, which is one of my favorite places to go hiking. All right, so that is that. All right, now I'm going to put this in there, and it's going to look a little bit stiff over the top of this, but I'm going to go back in there and sandwich the image into the white ink. Well, let me take a look at this again and see what it looks like with that top lighting like that. I think that looks pretty good with that Seaside Cove. I might put this a little bit off center. Let's re-ink this now. Oh yeah, Palm Springs. That's the oftentimes temperatures I look at. I always look at 29 palms for Joshua Tree. The last time I was driving near Palm Springs, it was snowing. And we were heading out to Joshua Tree. I couldn't believe it. Snowing out there on the 10, kind of around Banning. Okay, so I'm blotting that off around there. And let's go in here. Let's blot off a little more around this base area so it transitions into that area. All right, let's go about right like so. I'll put it a little bit off center, just so it's not just so directly center. Okay. Standing up for this impression. I'm putting a little bit more pressure on here because, I mean, ink buildup isn't super high, but, you know, pigment ink is a little bit thick. So, you know, you want to get a pretty good impression of it down there. And there we have that. Okay. Now, I just happen to have one of those old hole punch types of things. Okay. That's roughly the size of that moon there. See, like that. So I'm just going to use that as my little moon template to add in that white ink and get that illumination going. Let's see here. All right. Okay, I'm going to not be lazy here. Let's set this. This is going to take like 10 seconds. All right. That is that. If I started adding tone in here, I would pick up some of that black that's right around in there, so. Maine gets fireflies, huh? I've always wanted to see some fireflies. I always tell people, fireflies and northern lights, I always want to take, you know, or one of these days I want to see those somewhere. Okay, here's the moon. Okay, here's the thing about the moon too, okay? When you do this type of application here, I mean, you can do a just solid moon if you want to, but I think it might be a little bit more interesting if you vary it a little bit. So, see, I'm kind of adding a little bit more down here, like so. I mean, you can add it high or low, just, you know, if you just have a little bit of variation in it. Sometimes it looks a little bit more interesting with that kind of variety going. So you go to something like that. Isn't that kind of interesting? It looks like some cloud formation or something like that is kind of hovering over that side. And it's not that you added something in there, you just didn't apply the white in there like that. So, all right, so that is that. You can do, you know, we can add in, now that we have these formations down here, if we want to add in like specific little areas of white, we can do that. But we're going to stamp over that with our trees like this, though. So, you know, if I added too much down there and I just end up covering it up, you know, it's kind of a pointless. So I think I'm just going to leave it as is. But let's see how this moon is looking down in that water. I think that's reasonably strong like that. Okay, here we go. That's what I wanted from these mirror types of things. The original concept of the mirror type of thing is because when I wanted to create a moon that can rise, and I was thinking about one of those pull tab things, but then I just thought, oh, let's try it with this, you know, a really reflective thing, so you can see kind of a moon kind of moving within that space, and then I don't have to do like a, you know, a pull tab type of construction for a moon. Not that that wouldn't be cool still, but I don't know. You can get that type of I don't know, feeling or effect without having to do all that type of extra work. Okay, so let's see. Wow, you've been busy today, Froggy Fresh. Yeah, Kay, I'm with you on that one. I wish we had some fireflies out this way. I always tell people, if you haven't seen kind of that technique of doing those little fireflies, you know, just take a paint pen and then put a little dot down and use some of your, you know, whatever white pigment ink on a little Q-tip and kind of dab over it and make it glow. And then sometimes you have to go back in over it again, put a little dot in there with your paint pen again, because sometimes you lose a little bit of that greenish color, if you know, if that's the color you're going to use for the flies. All right, so going in here, I'm going to use the Brilliance, again, black for this. All right. I think I hold this down a lot longer than I really need to. I do this because I'm used to using dye-based inks mostly for my impressions, and if I'm using it on, you know, these different types of papers, I need time for it to transfer over. But, you know, the black from the you know, the pigment inks is just so much thicker, so I don't know, I probably don't need to hold it down quite as long. Okay, so we're going to flank this moon here a little bit and frame it off with these impressions. Hopefully we get some of that reflecting down in the water. I don't know if we will or not. I don't know if I'm creating enough of a contrast up here, but let's see. I got it off Amazon, Vicky. I always have a link to all the materials right underneath these videos. It's not going to be in it right away because I have to, you know, type it up after this thing gets posted. I think these get posted immediately after, but if you look at any of my other videos doing that mirror card type of format, there might be some better packs out there, but the one that I found was really quite reflective, and my initial reason for purchasing this pack in general was that the cost per sheet was way less expensive than a bunch of other ones. And it ended up being, they're more mirrored too. Not that that's what we always go for, but a lot of the other silver foils are kind of more of a, like a brushed aluminum is how I always describe them. But this one, at the time of purchase, now, I don't know, they always run out. Like whenever I post like a card up on like Facebook, and if I put that link in there for the foil, it's like, it's sold out, you know. But I don't know about now because of sourcing types of issues, but there's okay, let's see here. Oh, look at that. Look at those palm trees in there. Okay, use pines and rocks or something in there, you know, if you don't have that. But look at that, isn't that fun? I think it's reasonably mirrored. Now remember, I have all this texture going in here with the Seaside Cove, so I'm not getting as much of a reflected area down here, but I think it's reasonably reflected down there. And it's not too bad. I think I'm going to put in a few little stars in here or something of that sort. Now, you wouldn't see those stars up there, on a full moon like that. But, we're not trying to replicate, I don't know, what so-called reality, right? I'm just doing something that I think could be really conducive for the overall kind of whatever texture of this of scene. I don't know. Let's just work this a little bit more and see how it goes here. Okay, so oh yeah, Vicky. Yeah, it's all on. Oh, okay. So did I mention the price? It was 60 sheets, 8.5 by 11, and it was okay at the time that I bought it. It was like $17, and that was like about, I don't know, like a year and a half ago. Okay, and the link that I always put down there, they always had a link for gold, silver, and there's a red one. Okay, and it was like, yeah, it was like 17. It was between like it might have been less than $17. But the other ones that I saw, I don't know, it was like 10 sheets for like $10, or 5 sheets, for $5, which is why I got this one initially. you know, I don't know if those other ones were different, but I've ordered a couple different ones and they were a lot more. All right. So I didn't get this one because it was like, oh, I heard this one was quality or something like that. It was just a lot cheaper than everything else. All right, so adding in some additional tone down here. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit more reflective light on these areas like this. Okay, let's see that. And again, I like to have a decent amount of contrast for these mirror constructions. Okay, so something like that up there, I think, is going to really pay off. That amount of light on that cloud down in that mirrored section. Okay, now if I'm just doing this and I'm just making a scene on this, I'd probably treat things a little bit differently. But since we're reflecting it into a less than completely mirrored area, see that right there? See that little bit of illumination right there reads better down in here. And I should probably do the same for that moon as well. I should make it a little bit lighter, just so that orb portion of it shows up down there. Maybe I shouldn't have it so dark up here. Maybe I should go lighter or something like that. I don't know. Okay, here's the thing too. Here's the thing that's happening up here. There's a decent amount of space between this white and the moon right here. But if you notice that down in the reflection area right here, it's a smaller amount of visual space in between there because we're looking at this portion, at an angle like that. Okay, so the distance between those spaces is getting closed in a little bit, I think. Now I'm saying that because my inclination is to add in some additional cloud formations in there, but if I do that, then that moon isn't going to stand out as distinctly in the reflection area. So these are easy to do. I mean, you can just stamp whatever you want up here and just paste it into something like that, but if you really start kind of tweaking these things, then you're kind of making a lot of decisions in this upper portion with a lot of consideration of how it looks down here, as opposed to just how it looks up here. Okay. But all right, so let's see here. That being said, okay, let me go in. That little moon area again. Let's add a little bit more here. All right. Maybe I'll still have it, a little bit varied, but maybe not as much. I'll go in with a pretty thick application of it down here. Okay, remember when white pigment ink dries on darker surfaces, it dries more transparent. I was reading. What was that? What was that in regards to there? Can I go there for holiday? I was thinking about fireflies or something, Dawn. Yeah, you can go here. Yeah. In fact, we're all invited. You're all invited. We're gonna have a retreat right here. We'll have a stamping retreat right here in this location. A scenic stamping retreat. How's that? You know what? back when I think people got onto, I think it was the Yahoo groups. There was a stamping group, scenic stamping group, and then there was a Yahoo. Um, there was there was a Yahoo scenic stamping group, just general scenic stamping. And then someone created a Stampscapes Yahoo group. Okay, and I don't know, like one of the discussions was that hey, we should have a scenic stamping retreat sometime, and someone did that. Okay, and I went to one about I don't know 3 or 4 times out in the Illinois area, Chicago area. But then we were talking about scenic stamping, things like having a kind of a cool location. Hello, Jeannie, and yeah, toothbrush stars. And I was thinking, yeah, wouldn't there be some cool areas like Sedona or something like that, where we can have like a retreat or whatever. But then I started thinking about it more and it was like, you know what? When we go to these stamping retreats, we're hardly ever leaving the room anyways. Those scenic stamping retreats could be anywhere. Because we're not really not going out and doing stuff in that surrounding area. We're just stamping for like 3 days or I don't know, whatever, 2.5 days. It's usually those retreats where people would show up on Fridays and we'd stamp like Friday night and then all day Saturday and maybe Sunday morning, when people were starting to take off. All right, so that is that right there. I'm looking for little tweaks in here in general, so I can add a little bit of tone, I think, down to the base of that island. It's already fairly solid right there, but I think I could use a little bit of a stronger silhouette right there to stand up against, oops, that background in there. Yeah, the Yahoo groups were really big for a while there, going way back. One of the early stamping crafting groups was on AOL. AOL was nuts, man. Those and it was the chat rooms, and someone created oh my god, I forgot what it was called. It might have been called Rubber Stamp Chat or something like that. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, that's it's definitely something to a little tweak in terms of the considerations, huh, Vicky? Okay, so let's see, where'd the black go again? Okay, I thought I might be done with that, but oh, okay. Now here's a thing that I tend to forget about sometimes too. We can go in here if we want to create a little bit more contrast, and I can go in and I can add in some additional tone into the sky, like something like this. Okay. That looks pretty dark. Does it look dark? I'm not getting a little bit of a haze on there, but you can go in here and I'm adding the Brilliance ink into the scene like that. It's black, but it's also kind of a little bit more gray like this. Okay. So we can create a little bit more contrast with black ink in that open space. Maybe that will make that moon stand out by contrast in the water a little bit more. I don't know. Okay, now here's this thing here up here too. Now I added a lot of white in here, and you can go in and add this nice little kind of vignette up here. So you can go, you can kind of lighten it up, but then you can also darken it back up. If you darken it back up too much, then just add white right back over the top of it. It's a really nice kind of dynamic when it comes to, I don't know, opaque and translucent media like that, okay? So just kind of closing it off a little bit like so. Hello, Annie. Thank you for the discontinued list of Brilliance inks. Sad. Don't worry, folks. The black and white is still available. I didn't see that on Annie's list. Annie spoke with the people over at Imagine Crafts, who's the the distributor for Sukaneko products, which include Brilliance inks as well as Stays On and what are some other Sukaneko products? Tack and Peel that I use. VersaFines, you know, that's all Sukaneko. Okay, so adding a little bit more tone down like this, okay? Down like that. Let's see how that stands out, or if it stands out. Let's see if we benefited from a little bit of black here, here, and here. Oh, have a good dinner, PJB Stamper. Enjoy those burgers. All right, so there we go like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I can make that even darker, though. What do you think? Let's see. Let's make it a little bit darker here in the corner, okay? You see this right here? See, if you make it a little bit darker right here in the corner, and then as it moves over here, see it's kind of lighter? I mean, it's not super light right there, but if I make it a little bit darker right here, you're reinforcing lighting by having it lighter on the area, or on the object, that's closer to the light source like that, okay? So we'll see if we can do that. I mean, it's just a tiny little area, so I don't know, maybe going on there with like a little Q-tip would be better. But let's just see, let's just edit down like so. I think we should be okay with this. Okay, and let's do that a little bit right here too. It's kind of like putting a little bit of a vignette on here. I went darker corner up here, here, to here, and here. Up here it was just, you know, kind of over an area, but down here it's, you know, it's just over an object, okay? So let's see if that little tiny tweak, you know, reads at all. Okay. So that is like so. I think it reads. It's a little bit too dark right now, but it dries lighter looking. And this area above the moon that I made a little bit darker, I think it's giving that reflection of the moon a little bit of a stronger presence. I mean, it's not huge or anything like, oh my God, look at it standing out like so much more. It's not like that, but I think by contrast, it seems a little bit more light down there. It could be a fog bank, yeah, we could do that. I don't think I'm going to put any fog on here because I want that to be fairly distinct where it transitions down there into the reflected area. I didn't get a really strong black impression of, you know, the brilliance black over that top of that white, so it's a little bit more gray. What is it? It's like a 70% gray or something like that. But okay, so I don't want to put any like haze over that. I don't think, unless it really needs it. But I went a little bit heavy right there too, huh? Let's see. Let's tweak that a little bit. So every time, you know, you just kind of make your assessments or something like that. It's not like, oh my God, I went too much on this. You know, it's never like that with these types of things. Yeah, with most things, you know, that we do, we can always kind of tweak it. So see that right there? I just add that little bit of white back up in there. So it's just, you know, and then you can add as much as you want. Maybe I go too much with the white again, then you just go back in with the black. So it's more of like this kind of circular process of addition and it's not really subtraction, but kind of coverage. Yeah, I'm not using the paper towel for, I'm not using the cotton balls for dye-based inks, CJ. I'm using the cotton ball for the pigment ink, okay? It's a thicker ink. And I use my, you know, I think I cleaned off my desk here, but I use paper towels like this for dye-based inks, okay? Now, like, using this up here, if I was doing that really soft application, or trying for a soft application with this on here, this is not going to be as soft as a cotton ball, right? So, you know, I mean, what I'm doing here, if I'm representing something like mist or something like that, something very airy and light, okay? Cotton ball, you know, because it has that, you know, I mean, if people made a diorama or something like that, you know, like for a, you know, a kid's diorama or a train, if they're doing clouds in the sky, they'd probably make it out of something like a cotton ball, you know. So you use those kinds of whatever type of material you think would be the most conducive for the texture that you're applying, okay? Not always, you know, I mean, I don't know, you know, there's probably some things that wouldn't be as absorbent as a cotton ball, you know, that might be even lighter, but, you know, we just wouldn't be able to apply it. So look for those ideal types of things for whatever use you're going after. All right, so let's see down here now. I haven't used like a Seaside Cove. I haven't used an impression like this over something like this for my mirror part of it before. But look at this. Okay, now see this right here. I didn't block off some of these like these the spindrift coming off the crest of the wave, which is like this foamy area. But when I go like this is kind of like the angle that I would probably be viewing this at. This cloud up here is reflecting down kind of in that general area, so I don't think I need to really go in and physically add white down into this. Maybe I can do a few little reflective types of things with the paint pen, but I think a lot of the stuff that, up in the sky is already kind of taken care of, a lot of that work for us. But see this area down here, I do have this relatively large area down here to stamp in. So let's just stamp in. We'll just use those same rock, pebbly types of things. Let's say I put those away here. Okay, so everyone get that with the with your applicators. There's all kinds of other things you can use. Here's some foam applicators. Your makeup wedges. There's these types of sponges like this. Let's say you want to apply some ink and you want to get into some different grooves, kitchen sponges, I wouldn't recommend the Nerf balls like people used to use way back when. They were too airy. They weren't dense enough. I didn't think. Oh, someone reminded me of this other ball though too. Was it anyone in here? Reminded me of those. There's this different type of sponge ball that was excellent because it was really dense. I forgot what it was though. I don't know. If you're in here, mention it again. It was like that. I think it was a makeup, like this little. It's like an oval or something like that. It's not flat. I forgot what those were called. But I remember those ones worked really good for ink applications too. With the white Othman, what was that now, Vicky? What's off? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Fog scene with white pigment. Awesome. I didn't read down. Okay. Zig pigment inks to make some lines in my stamps darker. Ah. Sounds like a good, excellent strategy there. Seaside is hard for me to get a good image of. There's a ton, any type of image that has a lot of surface area requires more pressure, okay? So you really have to, don't see like a really super large stamp as one stamp to be pressed down. You have to press it in areas. If you're going for like, a really large scene where it's going to be using the full stamp. Now see on mine, I don't know if when you joined in here, Kay, but I just used a brayer. I put paper to stamp and I brayered on top of the paper as opposed to putting stamp to paper, or in this case, foil cardstock. So I just did that. I usually go stamp to cardstock, but just, I don't know, following up with my kind of experiment from a previous video for using large stamps like that. And it worked just fine. The one thing about going cardstock to stamp, large stamp, is that, when you lay this down on top of it, you just have to make sure that it doesn't move around, especially with, something like a non-porous, very slick foil and a very thick ink in the brilliance. But, it wasn't hard. You just kind of lay it down, put a finger down there and hold it and brayer one side and then brayer the other. So you can see where my brayer marks are on here. Okay, so those are some little rocks down there, like so. I'm not going to do too much of this bottom portion. I could put some additional palm fronds or something like that, but see how I've made that layout of those rocks? So it's darker on the sides like that and lighter in the middle to kind of reiterate this idea of this vignette being formed here and kind of containing the composition. Now, that looks a little bit busy down there, so I'm going to add in some additional tone down there just to kind of mellow that out. But let's take a look and see what that did, you know, since this is a mirror card and our reflections there. See that right there? So those pebbles or those rocks are really showing when I get that reflected area of this portion right down in here. So there's that kind of that dynamic like that. I mean, naturally that changes, you know, the location of those clouds above kind of changes depending on the angle that you're viewing this at. I think I can come down a little bit more with some white so that I get more of this reflection down here. Okay. Thanks, Beverly. Definitely doing my thing. The things that I enjoy doing. And hoping it always comes out. But I always say, if it doesn't, we just make our tweaks, right? Okay. All right, let's see here. My cotton ball. Speaking of cotton balls and paper towels and stuff, you get that kind of fraying happening, but just kind of squish it together like that, and it's nice and flat again, okay? I'm kind of, in some ways, I'm kind of glad. Well, I'm not glad I missed them, but I was using Colorbox stylus tools for a lot of my applications. Not really with the pigment ink applications, but the dye-based ink applications, you know, coloring scenes. But, you know, a lot of people, you know, you're in Scotland, you know, where are you going to find Colorbox stylus tools, you know? So it really kind of took me back to a lot of the basics, okay, of the things that we were using that people kind of had to use in stamping, you know, card making, basically everything, okay? You're pretty much making do with whatever you can get because there weren't like stamping accessory manufacturers out there like ink pad companies, okay? There weren't any ink pad companies back when, you know, you started seeing like rainbow pads coming out or something like that, but raised dye-based pads weren't out. So all those different types of accessories weren't out at the time, so everyone was coming up with whatever, you know, it was like the cutting edge of paper, you know, card making might be, I don't know, someone was like wrapping like a rubber band around like a stick or something like that and doing these, inking up the rubber band with like pens or something, you know, coloring like that. There was like stuff like that going on, okay? But, you know, I always liked seeing all that stuff because, you know, it really represented a lot of kind of innovation, you know, and making do, which I really believe in. Okay, so I'm looking at that right down there. I don't think that made too much of a difference just going down like a 1/4 inch, but oh well. All right, let's see here. I think okay, I got a couple pens right here, my new pen sets, and I'm going to go in and add a few little highlights down here. I need to be careful that I don't add it in too crazy of a way where it like sticks out like a sore thumb. I want it to kind of read nice and gracefully. Oh, I forgot to. Let's add in that tone down here. Hello, Cindy. You're not late at all. This one was a fairly quick scene. Okay, so let's see here. You like that look? The slow crafter. That's a cool name, YouTube name. All right, so adding this little vignette down here. Okay, this is really hard to show you guys. I'm sorry about that in terms of the reflection right here. But see that little tone down here on the corner? I think that'll kind of frame off this bottom portion a little bit. Yeah, those little rubber band things. I haven't seen that in a long time, but that's kind of cool that it's still going on. But you'd see stuff like that come out in I don't know. Who does anyone know Vamp Stamp News? You know, I don't remember what that stood for. Um, but I'd often see it in that magazine. The Rubber Stamp Madness maybe, but Vamp Stamp was it was a little bit closer to, I don't know, there wasn't like such a long kind of production, you know. Rubber Stamp Madness, you know, is professionally printed on, you know, like a newspaper. And Vamp Stamp News, I think it was someone just going into their local printer, so they'd get kind of like the latest kind of technique news out there faster than Rubber Stamp Madness. Usually, I don't know, people usually got both, but I'd see like those types of things showing up in that magazine way back when. So it was always kind of interesting to see kind of what people were using uh, that month, you know, or something like that. Okay, so I'm going into this area on my Seaside Cove, and underneath some of those waves where it's darker on the image, I'm just kind of reiterating that with a little bit of not super dark black or anything like that. I'm kind of going into it with like, you know, like that. Okay, it's like a really soft gray. That's what I'm always preaching, right, in these videos here, is just to kind of take things in a nice slow method, and then you're not going to get some kind of blob showing that you have to, you know, that we have to kind of blend in with the surroundings. So a little bit of a vignette on the side here. You know, I don't know if it needs it or not, but we'll just add that in there. Okay, so this is what this is looking like down here. Is that right there? Okay. And remember, we'll have to kind of spray seal this. And again, I'm not going to put a spray sealant in here, even though it would probably you know, it'd benefit from it in terms of anchoring it down there. But okay, you can see where I came in here with that darker tone. I put a little bit in here. I didn't come in here too much. But let's see if that toning, that minimal toning, did anything in here. Yeah, it kind of creates a little bit of a shadow underneath that wave right there. Okay. I don't see it too much, but I'm kind of experimenting here because I haven't used that like cove like that in a mirror type of situation before. All right, so I think we can use a little bit of foreground down here. Let's see. I'm always using this, but this is one of my favorite stamps. It's, you know, it's really perfect for these types of applications. But just putting a little bit of grass here on the lower right. You can't see that at all. Let's see here. It's this area right here. Sorry, folks. Yeah, it's getting a little late here, so my like ceiling is like black, you know, or dark. I'll hold that up though, so you know you can see what we do here. So I'm going with about probably 3 impressions, and I go like this. I often would do this reed stamp. I go like this, then I'll ink it up again, and I go a little bit lower, and then something like that. So I usually go with like 3, I would say, impressions. Not always, you know, sometimes it's more. I would say 3 though is a minimum. So it's like that right there. Okay, so again, here we go. It really frames that off. And then I'll do it the opposite side. I've probably used this stamp more than any other stamp, I'm guessing, over the years. Okay, see that right there? And I'll put that down like so. Go like this, all right. So it's kind of coming together in terms of you know, depth, spatially, whatever. Yeah, that's so right, Kay. You know, it was a lot of ingenuity. You know, people were going out and trying all kinds of stuff. You know, people were looking around in their house for things that they can use. You know, for a lot of applications. One of these days, I'm going to do an envelope. Does anyone do envelopes anymore? A lot of stamping was done on envelopes too back when. But, okay, let's see here. See, I didn't know how this would work down here, having the area just wide open. I think it looks fine, though. like that. All right. Okay, I haven't forgotten those pens, but I think I'm going to do a little. Okay, let me see. Where's that moon mostly? Okay, that moon is like that. I think people will have the card out like this mostly at like a 90-degree angle like that. So, okay, so that reflection is like right here. Okay, I'm getting my bearings for my little subject matter. I'm going to put this little character right in there, kind of paddling across the moon's reflection. At this point in time, this is not a good time, like I did yesterday with that quote stamp, to blur this. You know, because this one it has all the Seaside Cove in there already. Okay, so okay, I already forgot. I think it was right there. Because I can't just wipe this off, otherwise I'd be wiping out all the Seaside Cove. Oh, you know, the texture. So, okay, this is getting a little bowed here. So nice, light, even pressure. Allow the ink to transfer. Okay. It is a little precarious, you know. If you ever start doing this on the foils, do a little practice thing, okay? There you have it like that. See, I'm all fingerprinty too, and I can't really wipe that off in this case because I'd be wiping off the Seaside Cove impression, so a lot more of a smudgy type of thing there. So there's our little character going across the moonlight like that. See, this is what I like about this. If you do this like this, it does have that kind of illusion of movement in there, you know? And different movement, you know, down towards the meeting place, the movement is smaller, you know, because it's right at the I don't know, what do you call that? I don't know what, I forgot what, someone help me out there. It's the meeting place of those things. So, you know, when the farther you get away from it, there's more movement that's like parallax, right? But anyway. Okay, so let's go in and add some of that stuff in there. The inside and the outside of the envelope was stamped. How do you do that? So do you unfold the envelope then? Is it one of those envelopes that you unfold all together? Yeah, at least that's a good idea. You know, one of the things I always like is I call it sequential aesthetics, you know, where you do, yeah, those things, those little elements on the outside of a card to relate to the interior or whatever the main subject is. Yeah, I really like that whole idea. Just Cards and Northern Publishing. Ah, got it. It is that magazines or publications still out there, Cindy? Okay, so let's go in. All right. Sorry, folks, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing at all here with this. This is a silver pen. I'm not sure if it's the metallic or if it's the glitter. I'm still kind of, you know, getting a feel for these new pens that I have. Oh, it is really, really reflective too. Okay, let's see right here. Okay, so this in photography they call this specular light. It's light that's brighter than white, so it'd be like, you know, light that's kind of glaring off, you know, a surface of, you know, water or lake or whatever. Okay, it's any kind of thing. There's specular light, you know, right on this table, you know, with this pen, you know, that light, that's light there. That's not white. This is white right here, you know. So anything like that. So this is what I'm doing on here. Like I said, I don't want to go overboard with it though. So here's those silver little things I'm kind of following. So you can't see it at all like that, right? Because we have all that illumination like that. But the thing that's really great about reflective types of metallic pens is that it really shows up, you know, like that, and it reflects that light when it's in a darker field, in a darker reflective field, I guess you can say. Okay, so let's see what that looks like, because I don't know what that's going to look like. I usually don't do these little things like that down there on the surface on my mirror cards yet, but since I'm using the Cove, I thought it would look pretty good. So yeah, it looks okay. It looks, I don't know, they might look a little bit weird. They look a little bit weird like that for sure, but here's our main thing. I don't really see it sparkling too much, maybe because it's not capturing some, reflecting some of that light. It's okay. I wonder what white would look like though. Let's go into the white. Or would that be too much? Huh. Let me try some white, okay? I'm going to try to go for some really small little specks. I do have this blue glitter pen too, though. Whoever gets this card is going to be lucky, huh, Jeannie? I was thinking I should raffle these off. Or not raffle, but, well, yeah. I don't know. On these different YouTube channels, these comic book channels that I watch. I used to collect comics, so I'm just kind of curious and watch those sometimes. What they do these giveaways, they say if you comment and subscribe, or something like that, then they're gonna give that. They're giving a issue of whatever Spawn #1 away. Okay, so let's add a little bit of this kind of little, they call it spindrift or something like that. That really stands out kind of awkwardly because I usually do the white in a white area, right? But this is just going to be reading in that reflective area. So when you do this, you got to tell people, all right, don't look at that bottom scene by itself. Look at it in the reflection. So you see that where it's coming off that top of the wave, right? Look at that. You can't even see it at all. And there it is, right? So let's see how that looks with our moon. Okay, like that. It looks pretty good, I think. Down here, right? See that little bit of white? That looks really bizarre like that, but that's kind of, this is the spirit in which, you're supposed to be viewing this as. And look at this, it just happens to be right where that cloud's reflecting down here, so it's in this white area. Okay. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, bioluminescence. I'd love bioluminescence. I went surfing out one time when there was like the waves were glowing. We used to go surfing next to this pier at nighttime, and you'd go like this in the water, and it was illuminating, glowing. But then the waves, as they were churning and coming off, it was really amazing. I hadn't seen that before, and it was just kind of neat to be in the water at that time. It wasn't year round or anything like that. Okay, let's see how that moon's going there too, next to that little character down there. Okay, I'm going to put these ones together. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Cindy, as far as like hard copy. Oh my God, you know what Spawn is? I was thinking no one knows what Spawn is. Yeah, but it's nice having those those mag. That's why I have like printed postcards, and I send those out with orders, unless, I'm really, trying to save someone money, and I'm trying to keep the weight down, sending it first class. But yeah, it's just nice to have something in hand, isn't it? I mean, we're kind of, we're visual. If you're all visual people, being crafters and stampers and whatnot, and making things, with you by hand, I don't know if any of you are just like computer graphics or something like that, but it's nice to have something in hand. It's a different, well, literally, I guess it's a different feeling, huh? And those TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, was up there. When are we, when is that? When has Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ever shown up in a live rubber stamping chat before. Here on the Stampscapes channel. Okay, let's see. All right, getting this down like so. This lapis lazuli it's pretty dry right now. I don't need to heat. I don't think, did I heat set that? I might have heat set one layer of it or something like that, but yeah, the card magazines. You know what I was looking for? Oh my god, I can't even remember the name of it. Oh, Expressions magazine. I go through these. I do these little show and tell things periodically with old rubber stamp madnesses and stuff like that. And I think Expression magazine. I used to get copies of that, and I must have tossed all those out. I didn't have too many of them. It wasn't a magazine that was around for too long, but I couldn't find a copy of that one. Let's see. Okay, if you didn't get some cards from me, it's because I was trying to keep your postage down. So if it's by first class, like every ounce goes into the next weight category. These days, I'm trying to save people as much as I can in terms of orders go. So if someone orders something and it's supposed to be going out priority, but I can get it out for 3 ounces at 78 cents or 98 cents. I send it out at 3 ounce level and I just refund the difference there. I don't know. I'd rather have you guys like, buy another stamp pad or something like that than to, pay for like 1 extra day of postage. But I do, those postcards do go out, if it's weight isn't an issue. Or if something's like 3.1 ounce where they're going to be paying for 4 ounces anyways, then I fill up that envelope up to that 4 ounce level because they're paying for that anyway. Okay, let's get this glued down. I was just looking at this right here. Before I get this, glued down here, I was seeing if there's anything else that I want to add in here. I think we're ready to go with this one. So pretty fast card, right? Let's make sure this is all dry. I think it is dry down here. I don't want to put this down here and then put this tape over it. And it's like, sometimes you can see where I've run this tape. It's like, a lot of the ink comes out on that paper. Some of it might still come out a little bit, but, in these mirror card types of things, if you're missing a little bit of ink, it's not really any big deal. Okay, or some of the impression. But do be mindful of that, though, too, okay? Oh, look at that. A lot of it came off, okay? But, did it ruin the bottom part? Not really. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm not going to press this down too hard. Okay, but that's reasonably affixed there. Okay. Froggy Fresh wore her their TMNT t-shirt just yesterday. Awesome. Death Star today, huh? Very cool. I was discussing comic book and science fiction conventions with someone recently. I used to go to all these different comic book and science fiction conventions when I was a teen. I used to be a comic book collector, so I was like obsessed with that. All right, so let's see here. I did have a quote here. I'm not quite sure where. I don't think in this case I would put it down on those waves down there. It could go up here if we want some text, but that might look kind of weird. It would kind of go nicely right in here, right around that moon, though. This one's art is a harmony parallel with nature. That would kind of be interesting. Or I can do it up here. Oh, okay. So I'm thinking about all of this in white, okay? But I could put it up here in the clouds in black. I think it would stamp out. Or would that make it look too uneven? It might. I could do it over here, though, and it would wrap right around that moon like that, though, which might be kind of interesting. And I don't think we'd really see it down there in the reflection area. It would be reflected right in here. So, I don't know. This one's tough. I like this one too, Stacy. Sometimes my favorite mirror cards are the most simple ones. Like one of the first ones that I did was I just stamped Lakeside Cove up here on top of a photo print of clouds, and then I just put a couple other things down there. It was done, you know. But see, sometimes like this, the more simple the top portion, I think, and I forget this too a lot of times, is the more simple it is up here, the better it reads on this bottom portion, you know. So sometimes it's just best to leave it just real simple like that. But God, I'm really kind of okay. So the quote thing, well, I think I would just put it on the outside, and I'm not going to do that right now because if I take this and I make an impression like this, I might be putting some of that ink up into this area. So I need to spray seal this first. Okay, so I think what would be cool, who was mentioning it, that, you know, they like to do their envelopes, you know, in theme with their interior. Okay, so that being said, for something like this, okay, what I might be interesting on this outside is just to put, you know, a little bit of, maybe a little bank of clouds like this, like, you know, down here. And then you can stamp out that quote right here, okay? So that when they open it up, you know, it's like that, or it's either that, or you can do something really simple. You can do, you know, a little moon or something like that, and put that little canoeist there. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't do that. I think, you know, something a little bit more general, like the clouds on the outside, you know, just to give it a little hint of something that's going to happen on the interior, but less so, so that you get a little more impact and contrast. Sometimes if this is too busy out there, it would detract from that moment someone would open up your interior like that of the card. So, all right, so that is done. Okay, so I mentioned something earlier too. I thought about some Dr. Martin's splashing stars up there. I don't think I'm going to do that though. I think I'm going to put some of my little reflective little types of stars up here. Maybe they will be a little bit more subtle, but they'll capture some of that light like that. Okay. Froggy Fresh, it's funny you mentioned the lightning stamp because the other thing that I was thinking about for a card tonight was going to be doing a lightning reflection type of thing. Not with the Seaside Cove here, but I don't know, just some open area. I think a lightning would be... I often do lightning above and then I stamp it below in a scene, okay? But I haven't tried it like in a mirror type of thing yet. But yeah, Cindy, glad you know, joining in on the lives. Like sometimes, you know, I think these live things too, I think sometimes it makes... I think it makes these scenes sometimes a little bit more real for people or accessible, you know, because I'll do something and I don't know, it just seems that people relate to it more when they can see it being done in real time, where there's people, you know, we're talking about things, you know. I'm finding that's why I'm kind of repeating some of my other scenes that I've done before, but in a live format like this. Okay, so I'm adding these little glittery types of things down there. I'm probably adding way too much, okay? Because I can't even see it myself, right, sitting here, but let's kind of see what that looks like this, and yeah, see that like there? It kind of brings that area to life like that. But you can do it in a very subtle way, you know, where it's like someone's looking at it like that, okay, and they're looking at their card, but then, you know, at the right angle. I'm talking about up here, see that? It's like a little whoosh. It even kind of changes light across there like that, right? See like that? It kind of like moves like that across there, angling it like that. So see like that? See this, you're getting movement with this. Okay, I've been doing so many of these mirror cards. People are going to say, wait a minute, so Stampscapes have to be used with a silver foil, right? But I can just hear it. People ask me stuff like that. And I say, no, you don't have to, you know, but see, you're getting movement this way, okay? And then you get that kind of that thing going on with parallax down here, down here. But then when you have little things like that, little reflective types of things like that in the sky, that might be more subtle too. You're adding another layer of, I don't know, kind of visual interest into your scene. Let's see. Recommendation of which stamps to buy. Oh, to try your first scenes. My first types of, I used to comment like this, Beverly. Okay, it really depends on what you want to stamp. Do you want to stamp a lake? Are you someone that wants to do a snow scene or something like that? But I tend to think that nature sets number 6 or number 8 are really great ones to start off with, okay? They're just they have a lot of the filler imagery. Okay, I'm adding in a few little white stars that we'll be able to see as well, so maybe those will contrast against some of the reflective ones a little bit, okay? So something like this. And what I'll do is on some of these clouds, here I'll zoom in for this one too. I just, I add in a little bit of highlights like that, maybe some area of the cloud is capturing a little bit more light. But sometimes it's not so much the main stamps in a set, but it's the filler stamps, Beverly. So see like the reeds here are in like set number 6, okay, and it has the lakeside cabin, but it also has some really great foreground images that you can use in any type of situation. Nature set number 8 has water pattern, and it has the cloud cumulus and oak branch, which are really great for foregrounds, okay, and you can use it in tropical, you can use it in desert if you want to, you can use it in a pine forest or something like that. I saw that Death Star comment. That would be cool in a scene. Frog Fresh is going to do the same exact scene. Instead of the moon up there, it's going to be the Death Star. Maybe you'd have to put the Death Star though against a kind of a light sky instead of a dark sky. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it in at least in a mirror card like that. Okay, so adding in some of these little reflective little areas down here on my cloud, okay? So these are just little things that kind of reiterate shimmering light or something like that, or light strength. Putting these little highlights like that. Okay. Like so, see that right there? Okay. You kind of add a little bit more in the area, and then you kind of taper it. So you change the spacing of your little dots like that to kind of taper it off like that. Okay, so see that? It's kind of like glowing a little bit more, right? In that white area. Okay, and this is what it looks like at an arm's distance. It just kind of blends in, right? Sorry, it's blurry. It's focusing on this part of my card right here. Let's see. All right, so let's see, it's still a little out of focus. Let's see what's happening here. There we go, okay. So let's see if that reads a little bit more. I don't know if it reads too much. See, this is like farther away from this reflection, so that's not reading. It's a little bit lighter, I think, in there, perhaps. But I think this little area in here is more, is lighter right there, though, because it's much closer, to that reflected area like that. All right, so that is that. Who mentioned, where did I see sunset? This would be, yeah, that was another thing I was thinking about too, Kay. Or copper foil, that would be interesting too. I'm not sure how reflective it would be, but it might give you a different look, That might be interesting. It would look cool too, Donna. You do the copper foil up top here, but then you do the silver down here, and you have that copper reflecting down there in the water. So this right up here would give you kind of like a sepia looking, I'm guessing, like twilight type of look. It would be a kind of a weird look, but that would be kind of cool. The copper down here, like I said, it just depends on how reflective it is. Yeah. Oh, but the sunset scene too. Here's another thing I was considering too. I was talking about, the lightning up here, reflected down here, but I was thinking about just doing a brayered background up here, where you have transitioning colors in here, and that would reflect right down in here, and that would be kind of cool too. So there's all kinds of different possibilities like that. That's the one thing about these, when you play around with these different formats like that, it's just like, oh my God, it's just like an avalanche of kind of ideas, and all of them, probably, would be really fun to kind of explore. But, it'd be kind of cool too if someone could come up with some sort of contraption. Wouldn't it be cool to have like this bottom portion down here, and maybe you do some kind of like a cricket, cutout, or no, or would that be a scan and cut, but where something like this is actually kind of raised, and then you put a background in between like that raised little thing in there, or you can put a different background and you slot it into something. So this area down here could remain the same, right? But then you have these different backgrounds like that. It's like those, kind of like a movie set where, there's these different backgrounds that you just put in front of anyone. And that would be kind of cool. So in that case, it would be different skies like that. Or if you had some kind of rolling thing, where it, you have these different looks like that, it would be kind of interesting to come up with some sort of contraption like that. But that's too complicated for me, It would be, I would have to leave that up to you guys, I'm too lazy to try something like that, but I think it would be really cool. I don't know. If I did something, where I can have these kind of cut out, like I think a scanning cut would do it or something like that. And you just have that, like I said, some little slot like that in the background. It'd be kind of interesting. You can do I have that glow in the dark printer paper too, you can slot something like that, and you take this in. I did one mirror card like that with a glow in the dark paper, and that was pretty cool too. It's seen that glowing kind of thing going on down there. I should use my Creature of the Black Lagoon stamp kind of coming out of these ways, but on top of here it would be that glowing, glow in the dark printer paper. Like something like that would be really cool. So you know what I mean? Oh my gosh, you guys got me thinking of all kinds of other things here. So let's see. Crystal Fire found. What did you find here? A dye ink that's water-based and archival. Awesome for stamping the main scene. No smudging. Spectrum Noir Finesse waterproof ink. Now, that can't be a dye ink, though, can it, Crystal Fire? Because that seems like a waterproof ink, because dyes are water-based, but that's what they're calling it, though? Huh. Yeah, Cecile, it's like train of thought, huh? Yeah. So, talking about all that stuff, that was like, all that, not the insert thing, but I was thinking about all those different things. But, it would be kind of interesting if we can, stamp something like that out, because the possibilities for this top portion. Oh, I didn't even show you guys here. I didn't even look at this, but see those stars up there like that? So you get that, and then you get those kind of, I guess in this case it would be dimmer stars, but they're kind of invisible like this. I'm talking about this area up here. You get that, and you get that. You can come up with all kinds of different colors if you want to too. Now those stars aren't reflecting down in this area down here. It's it's too dim for that, and those stars up here aren't even reflecting down here. I guess it would reflect if you go like that, but I don't know. Let's see here. I got to get the right lighting on here for you guys. Okay, here we go. That's a little bit better. Like this. Let me put this other light in right here too. Okay, see that? All kinds of possibilities. Maybe I'll do it in my next card, maybe. I got to get off these mirror cards and do something else. Not because I'm not enjoying them. I tend to think these mirror cards are some of the most kind of dynamic looking projects, and reasonably simple too. I mean, there's not a lot going on down here, I think that I can do that bottom portion of that card. I bet you it would take me less than 5 minutes, okay? Now, it takes me longer when I'm doing these things because I'm kind of inventing it on the, on the fly, you know, with you guys watching. But if I was just to replicate this, okay, I think I can take someone through it really fast. I don't know if it would be a half an hour card. If it was their first card that they're doing like that, you know, it'd be kind of getting their cloud things going, you know. That would take the longest. But, you know, it's not a long process, though, once you know how to do it, though. But just in general, it's pretty fast. But yeah, but look at that. I'm looking at those stars up there with those new metallic pens like that. See, the metallic pen is roughly the same value as that background, only it's very reflective, so you know you can do those kind of invisible types of things like that. Yeah. Where is the off-white tone coming from in the beach part of the? It's let me see. I think it's right here. Yeah. Okay, see, this is where it's coming from. This is being reflected. You can see my finger right here, right? Right there. So I don't know why it's reflecting, you know, that tone. No, it's not. No, it's not more white like that, huh? Where did that off color go again? I can't get the off color again now. Where is it like that? I can't get the angle. These mirror cards are malleable. You know, I don't know. You guys saw it. You were watching it, you know, right when I was doing it. But see, there's it looks more like that white like that. I don't know. Here's the thing. You know, we're dealing with light here, right? And reflected light. So that's why I like these cards, though, because it's that thing is always changing. If I went outside with this thing, it would be a completely different lighting on this card, you know. Or if I was standing out, you know, I'm all studio lights right now. I don't have any light coming in from outside. So, and look at this. This is real dim here, you know, at this level. Here it's a little bit brighter. Oh, there's that light. Okay. Oh, you know what I think? I don't know if that, I might be reflecting the ceiling. That might be the ceiling up here. Or is it? I think, okay, I think that, there, I found it here. That's the ceiling. It's just that, you know, my lights are kind of reflecting off of that area up there. So I think that's the ceiling up. I don't know where's that light? There's something light blue that's reflecting in there too. I don't know what that is. I don't see anything. Well, anyway. So your ceiling, in other words, become a part of, you know, it becomes a part of your scene like this. Yeah. Yeah, Froggy Fresh, I like that little thing in there, huh? It kind of makes, it doesn't stand out too much because there's a lot of texture going on in here. But just kind of having that little visual anchor point. Um, if I stamped out like a flock of birds out here, that would be kind of nice in here too, but I don't want to compete with that little character down here. So on these mirror cards, like I said, I don't usually put like, you know, like a deer and, you know, something else and something else in this portion right there. I think they're better if they're a little bit more simple so that you don't have images kind of merging in with one another and that type of thing too. So I like the star effect too. I think that really adds to it. Not in a huge way. It's one of those things where, you know, if you gave this card to someone, who knows if they'd even see it. But then if they, one of these days they go like this, they are like, oh, I didn't even see that in there. So I like those little kind of bonus little things like that. And here it is down here too a little bit. Yeah, I can't, yeah, there's a little bit of that reflective things down in here. You can't even see it like that though, can you? But then at certain angles, maybe it shows up like that. You know, those little bits down there in the water. So little tiny things like that, you know, you can kind of add it in there. And if you don't like it, then just don't add more, you know, or there's some things that you can add in there. I mean, I added quite a bit of those little blue colored dots in there. You know, you can see it like that, but you know, they're like invisible like that. So those little things are really fun to do. Okay, Crystal Fire, water-based, acid-free, and archival. That's made to last. There's some kind of binder in that water, I guess. Maybe it's the same type of thing that's, you know, in Brilliance inks or something. Here, let me turn up my exposure on my camera a little bit more. There we go. Okay, that's a little bit more true to the card there. Oh, here's another thing I noticed just now too. See a little bit of white up there in terms of the stars, and then we have that down here coming off those waves. It's kind of a nice textural relationship between up here and down here. It almost looks like it's reflecting down there, but it's not, but you get that same type of textural thing going on like that. Which is to say that, one of those things that kind of brings continuity into any type of work you're doing, interior design, whatever, clothing or something like that. If you have these little things like this in the different areas, objects, or distances, these stars represent the thing that's the farthest away from us, right? But then you have that same type of little vehicle down here in terms of little splashing waves, but it kind of creates distance. We have these stars up there that are really far away, but then you have these little things down here. These little splashing waves kind of come a little bit closer to us from a visual standpoint. In the stars and there, it pushes back space. But from a textural standpoint, it creates that commonality. So it brings kind of the farthest area seen together with the foreground by having that same type of, it's made up of the same element like that. So that's a little bonus right there, I guess. And you can really see it like that, where when it's not reflecting that. Seaside Cove. I'm gonna have to experiment with the Seaside Cove a little bit more, because like that little thing like that, when I do this too, it's like the waves kind of rolling in, right? It's like moving a little bit. That cloud is kind of creating this rolling wave, like it's coming in like that. So I don't know. Yeah, some different possibilities, I think. Completely by accident. I didn't know I wasn't thinking about that at all. A lightning card tomorrow. We can do something like that. Okay, Annie, you want to do... Well, Annie, you're going to be doing a mirror card in that class too, so... A little crab in the foreground would be cool. Crab in the foreground would be cool if I had baby sea turtles, And it's like at the moon, the right moon or something like that. Wouldn't it be cool with the little baby sea turtles going out right here in that moonlight? And then you can have your kind of ocean waves kind of rolling in like that. Yeah. Did you happen to see my question? Oh, I didn't see it, Beverly. What was your question? Sorry. Facebook page using the new black ink. I'll check that out, Crystal Fire. You've got it labeled up there again. The type of inky. Can you put it down in your area. Can you just remind me what the name of that ink was? And I'll have to take a look. Is that a new ink? Does anyone else have that ink? Or, it sounds pretty good though. Oh, there's no kind of special cleaning fluid that's required for that one, right? If it's water-based. But the thing, if it's permanent though, I'm wondering, you probably have to get it off that rubber, reasonably fast, but probably not as fast as like a solvent ink, I'm guessing. It sounds like it's got the benefits of a solvent ink, but it's water-based ink, right? And that would be great. Thanks, CJ. I'm glad you enjoying the teaching and whatever, the experimentation and whatnot. Okay, we'll do the lightning card tomorrow. Let me see. Tomorrow is Thursday. I think I should be able to go on. Tomorrow's my son. He's not graduating, but it's the last day of school. So, yeah. Which of the stamps do you recommend to buy first? Oh, yeah, that was the Nature Set 6 or 8. It's the one that has a lot of the those filler stamps, okay? And not only that, but there's probably 100, I don't know, between those two sets, there's probably... Nature Set number 8 might have 100 lessons on this video channel using that set or images from that set. And Nature Set 6 is... another one that I have, or it's 6 and 9. I have a gazillion lessons using those two sets. I probably have 6, Nature Set number 6 with a lakeside cabin in a mirror card setting too. I did a ton of videos using that set because they used that on Stamp Wars, and a bunch of people bought that set. So I came up with a ton of content for those people that bought that set. I wanted them to have a lot of different options how to use that set. So there's just a ton of different techniques and whatnot, and different looks, from the very, basics to, I don't know, not really more advanced. I guess an advanced, scenario would be like a mirror card like this. A baby albino turtle in the news day. I didn't see that. Yeah, but Crystal Fire, post that one in the Facebook posting of it though. Yeah, put that in the Facebook post where you posted your scene. I want to see that, or your piece, or I'll write it down or whatever. Wait, softening. Did I say that? What was I saying that for? That off-white looks good down there, huh? Yeah, that's my ceiling. We incorporate our ceilings into our scenes like that. Spectrum Noir. Is that a UK company? I don't even know. CJ's got a dentist appointment tomorrow. Okay. There it is. Okay, so let me show you guys what it looks like, okay? Just flat like this so we can see what this is, comprised of here. All right, so you have your scene, your top scene like that. Pretty basic, right? White and black ink up there. And here's let me see if I can show you guys this. It's really hard to show in that foil, but Seaside Cove, couple rocks down here. I did multiple impressions of them. The reeds down here in the foreground. You don't have to have those reeds. You can just have like all sand up here or something like that, and just that. Those little highlights in there. I don't know if they contribute or not. You can really barely see it like that anyway. But I don't think they're distracting. I think glitter, or going back to that, that wink of Stella that we used. Maybe you can put a little wink of Stella on something like that. That little shimmery type of essence, might be kind of cool in here. I don't know if it would make much of a difference on the silver, where maybe it would reflect a little bit of that color up there or something like that. But there's already so much reflection going on here. I don't know if it would need it or not, but I'm really glad I added this top cloud, because that top cloud is really influencing a lot of the things that we can see down here. If I don't have this white up here, then that area down there is just really dark, or darker. But that looks pretty cool like that, kind of going across there. We should do some bands of clouds like this, like a band down here, and instead of having this moon, then you have another abandoned cloud right, like right this. So that when you really do this, it really looks like multiple waves kind of rolling in that reflected area. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? But, we'll call it the Rolling Waves card or something like that. Yeah. CJ, you bought several Stampscape stamps long before you started to number them. Oh, they always had a number, but I just didn't put the code on the stamp. It probably just says like Stampscapes copyright or something like that. Yeah, that was before, the labels too. You go way back. Thanks, for the long support, CJ. I wonder if you have some that were hand indexed. Those ones are really, really, those initial offerings that we made. Cindy, are you talking about the basic set? Yeah, nature set number 6 and 8. If that's what you're referring to right there. And also one of the things too, when I'm teaching like Stampscapes 1, the live versions, I usually take people through nature set number 8, those images. I mean, I could teach, basic, Stampscapes with anything, but those ones, I think that's a really good set to do that with. because of that cloud, so that people can learn how to do skies. And that Lakeside Cove one, you can use it for a water scene or like a meadow scene or something like that. Or they can use portions of it too. So it really teaches them how to use their stamps in a variety of different usages, and not just for. One of the big things about Stampscapes is utilizing them not just in their entirety, but portions of it. So this is a prime example of that. I used just this portion of the Seaside Cove. So it's really getting people to look at their stamps and to break them down and to think about them used in portions. Okay, so on this one right here too, a lot of people, if like a beginning scenic stamper is going to take this stamp and it's going to be centralized, okay? And that's fine, you can do that. But in this case, we used it here and over here like that. It's like this though, but it's really kind of breaking down the scenes and not seeing them as something to be used in their entirety. And that's one of those things that I really try to get across to people in a beginning class. It's looking at their stamps and seeing them a little bit differently. You want, here's a really tall tree like this, leafless tree, but it's also getting them used to the idea of seeing this as like okay, here's a medium-sized tree from there up, or if you wanted to just use a small leafless tree, you can then just stamp out the top portion of it like that, There's smaller versions of it, of course, but, they can look at their larger ones especially and break them down and use them in smaller portions. So that's where like the Lakeside Cove large set come into play more so than the smaller version, because they can use smaller versions of the larger stamps. So that's what I'm really trying to teach people with how they see stamps or Stampscapes. I've designed them that way to use things broken down. So when I'm designing something like this, I'm thinking about it in its entirety, but I rarely do an 8.5 by 11 type of scene or 11 by 17 like that, okay? So I'm thinking about, I look at the stamp like that, if they're going to use it on a card, where they have this little area like that being used, like the left side, curving cove like that. I see it as a right side type of thing. Someone wants to put a lighthouse right here, they can do that and just use this small portion on a quarter-page card. But I also see it used in the middle like this, like in a scene like this, okay? But they can also use it in this top portion like this. Let's say you use this with the Lakeside Cove, and you just have this kind of, I don't know, whatever, Great Lakes type of situation, whatever. So, that's the way these stamps have been designed. I try to get the most amount of use at it. The most creative use, I mentioned this before, is someone used just these waves and they stacked them like this, and then they put the sides on it, so this became like a raging kind of like river, and they just used that portion of it. That was really cool. And that's in our Stampscapes gallery, and Jolene Meyer, that was the name. She used that Seaside Cove, really creatively, and she did a couple ways, and there were like bears on each side of it, like, I don't think they were catching salmon or something like that. I think they were just in the scene, but really nice usages like that. So that's why I point out like nature set number 8 and 6 like that. Christopher, I can't find the Marvy ink black oh, you're never going to find them. Marvy doesn't make pads anymore. They have the re-inkers, and some people have used a different pad for it, but yeah, Uchida just doesn't make pads anymore. They got rid of their Marvy matchable line. They still have the re-inkers, and then they had the blank pad for a while, but that was discontinued recently too. They probably placed one order for those blank pads, and that was it. And they ran out of it, and they're just not ordering anymore. So the inks are while they last too. I think that was a recent kind of addition to the website where it says that. So I don't think you're going to be in any trouble of buying any of the colors of Marvy inks to supplement with. So sometimes I just, I have my colors like this in the Rinker form. I have a feeling they have a gazillion of those ones, but maybe not the black. So I don't know. But maybe I don't need black anymore. I don't know, as long as that, like the Spectrum Noir, if it's a really super dark black, and it's as dark as the Marvy one, I'd probably start using something like that. You know, and especially like if it's not one of those things like a StazOn where it requires, like I said, that clean. That's why you don't use the StazOn too much, or or at all, because I don't want to get a lot of buildup on my stamps because I'm kind of lazy and I don't like cleaning my stamps off all the time. With something like that, that would create that residue on it. Which you can clean it off later on, but it would, it's more of a permanent type of ink. Yeah, that's going back, those Stampscapes that only have the copyright on it. Yeah. Some of those times, they're newer stamps if it has a label on it, but I might have ran out of the name code label on there. Yeah, we will be scheduling some more classes. I've been waiting to do it though because some people are waiting for the foil class, but I didn't know if they could get those pads and re-inkers like Annie was mentioning it. They don't have the Brilliance white re-inker. Maybe you can find it somewhere, okay? But that's kind of the holdup on something like that. That class. But yeah, I need to schedule those beginning classes again too. And Stampscapes 2, 3, and all those ones. Yeah. So I'll post those somewhere, maybe on Facebook or on the website, getting that together. I needed to find out what my son's schedule is going to be because he's going to start working for the first time. So I needed to find out what my schedule is going to be then, as well, depending on his schedule. Yep, KJN, that's me. Oh, yeah. That was probably stamped on the side like that. CJ's got to let the dog out. I'll have to look into those. Yeah, Spectrum Noir. Sounds interesting. It's a full-size pad too, right, Crystal Fire? It's not like a small, like a cat's eye or something like that. And I'm guessing they have re-inkers for it too, right? Oh, Tammy, they were out of some colors on the Marvy site already? Wow. That surprises me. Because I wouldn't have been surprised if they had to order 100,000 of each color at any given time with those re-inkers, or if it was 50,000 or something like that. Those inks really last a long time, and the pads too, it held a lot of ink. Like some Marvy ink pads, it's like I go in my workshop supplies that I forgot about it, and some of those pads were still wet after like 10 years, okay? And I didn't have them sealed off or anything like that. They were just, and the Marvy cases, I mean, they're not like a, tight seal like a lot of ink pads, but I don't know. Yeah, but that surprises me that they were already out of some. I wouldn't be surprised if they're out of black. When that happens, I'm going to be really sad, but, I'll just start using something that's a little bit more available. And I don't know if this Spectrum Noir one is good, then that would be the one to maybe look into. My problem with a lot of other black pads is that it is just not black enough. If I get up there around the 95% gray, okay, I'm good. But if it's like an 85% gray or something like that for their black, it just doesn't have the contrast for me that I want out of a black pad. And sometimes like StazOn isn't even as black as like the Marvy, but the inks that expand after they stamp the image. Anyone know that one? I don't know. That sounds like almost like an embossing type of thing with the powders, no? But there's some kind of ink where you stamp it out and it expands. Does it raise or something like that, Cindy? Oh, if the Brilliance is on Amazon, that's great. I have links to it too, but it's like you can link to something. It's like on Amazon, it's like here today and gone tomorrow sometimes. But that's good that it's on there. Just as long, don't be paying like $20 for those types of things, Just be careful about it. Wait a minute. No re-inker available? We don't want that. Not in black, at least. In some colors, I just barely use them, so I don't even use reinkers for them. Like dark colors, they last me a super long time, but black, I definitely have to um, re-ink that one. I would think, huh? Okay, nice pad. Pad is like the distress pad, not foam. Huh, I like foam though, Crystal Fire. As long as it's a dense foam. Um, the Marvy pads were foam, and um, the old Vivids. Anyone remember Vivid? Not everyone, but remember that? See that pad like that? That's like dense foam, and it's still, look at that. This thing's like 35 years old, 30 years old, maybe 30 years old. But look at how beautiful that pad is still. And look at this. It's still, I've never re-inked that, okay? This is clear snap. And that pad, I mean, it's reasonably sealed off. It's not super sealed off, but look at that. That is a really fantastic thing. Okay, I'll take your word for it, Crystal Fire. I'll pick one of those up. We definitely we want as close to like 100% black as possible. If it's here's the thing. If it's fast drying, I wonder if we can blend it out, or does it dry too fast for that? Maybe it's better just for the impressions. That's what I was wondering, Donna. If they meant embossing powder, that sure sounds like embossing to me. I don't know if the ones that expand like that. I know about that snow pen too. It was like puffy, right? Huh. Yeah, Kay, I'm with you on the VersaFine Claire, Kay. That's the perfect one. But the VersaFine Claire, it will never dry on like either of these surfaces like this. Perfect for matte or even silk, semi-gloss cardstock. Perfect for that. I don't know of any other black that's as dark and detail retaining as that VersaFine Claire. I love it. Um, I don't. Yeah. If you find out what that one is, Cindy, let us know. That sounds interesting. It did it come in different colors? Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that, or if I've seen it, I didn't know what I was looking at then. If they used something like that. Um, huh. I would think that they have a re-inker for that. Maybe I'll look on their manufacturer's website for that. Maybe that's what I thought too, Annie. I thought there was like some kind of like. I often see people use something for snow, and there was some kind of white, but I didn't know if it was from being heat set, or if it was from. I didn't know if it was an ink either. I thought it was something that they applied after they made their impressions, but I don't know. Huh. Wait, the Catherine Poolers are like this, Diana? Are you talking about the foam um, pad as opposed to the fabric? Hmm. The Shadow Inks by Hero Arts or Simon Says stamp ink pads do the same. What do they do? Wait. Dries too fast. Okay. So they're a little bit more similar to the StazOn or something like that then. Okay. Okay. We can probably use it on this with no problem then. I wonder if it would be as dark as this. Or darker. That would be perfect. It would be, if we had some kind of fast drying like a VersaFine Claire, but it was fast drying and you can use it on any type of surface, that would be one heck of a pad for us crafters, huh? I'm wondering how that would work. You have to, if you have like foil or something like that and you use it on foil, let us know if that can dry on those types of non-porous types of surfaces like that. Annie's oven is beeping. They're having dinner. Good night, Annie. Huh. Alcohol inks. So probably what's in the pad to make them. Oh, so you're saying that the Spectrum Noirs pens have this, is it the same? It's not the same ink as in that one pad, though. That pad's a different type of pad, though, right? The pad's more of a, I don't know. I'll take a look at it. I gotta find that. Was that question directed at me, Froggy Fresh? Am I making my own ink pad line? No, I wouldn't do that. If some pad manufacturer asked me, if they wanted to do that, I probably would, because there's a lot of, I wouldn't say there's a lot of colors out there that I can't find, but there's been some colors before that I just cannot find in any line of inks. Specifically stuff that might be happening in like a sunset, dusk type of situation. I've looked for certain types of blues before, and I just couldn't find it. And I would come up with something that I always like using combinations of colors to achieve what I'm going after, because it just looks much richer. But I think and like Marvy had a certain blue that's called Manganese Blue that just no other company has. And Marvy didn't even have it in pad form. But that is, for me, the most beautiful blue out there in the dye ink world. I've had to get it in pen form. Okay, and I've had, let's see, is that it? Yeah, this one right here. This is Manganese Blue. But this isn't it, though, because I've re-inked it with a different color, but it's just super blue. That's not it, though, okay? But it was just a super bright blue, okay? And that's the thing that I've missed, too. I used to sponge it on. I would, roll some of that color onto a paper towel and then apply it into my scenes like that. So I wish I had that blue. That being said, I don't like think about these things, a lot. It's like, you just try to make the best out of what you have. But it wouldn't be bad, to have a couple of those other colors of blues and kind of that little pinkish tone that you might see in like a, like a sunsetty type of scene, but more of the subtle one. I don't know. I can't get that color before. I'd probably call it something, I don't know, some kind of sky set or something like that. But yeah, I have heard of the Spectrum. Yeah, I've never looked at those. Once you get certain types of inks, if there's certain types that are similar but I don't really go into it. But I don't know. Yeah, the Spectrum Noirs, were they double-sided tips, or like a brush tip and like an extra fine tip or something like that? I wonder if it was those. Yeah, Kay, like I said, maybe some of that is blue, some of that manganese blue, but I think I might have mixed in because, they don't have like a re-inker for that manganese. I think I might have mixed in some of the, I don't have it right here on my desk, but I have like a number 10 blue like this. And just, because I can get some kind of incarnation of that manganese, I just mixed in some of this into my pen. Everyone, no, I always show this here, but if you want to re-ink a Marvy pen, you just take that out and you take this out right here and you just put a few drops of re-inker fluid in here. Okay. If the pen doesn't come with a re-inker, because the only reinkers they made were for the pads, and since it wasn't a manganese blue, you can just put in a lighter version of blue or, similar one, and it'll mix with the residual ink from the initial color, and you'll get some kind of version of it. But that's better than just tossing out the pen, though, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Marvy's, you're great, Kay. Galaxy paint pens. I don't know what those are. I don't think, or do I? It doesn't sound familiar to me. Puffy inks. Maybe they're called puffy inks. It sounds pretty cool, though. There might be some kind of some other types of paint pens out there that you can draw with it, that kind of react or something like that. It seems to, yeah, it seems like a heat setting type of thing, though. But I just don't know. Zig made pads with their pigment inks. Oh, sometimes pigment inks, you have to find the right vehicle for the delivery of those types of inks. Pigment inks are really thick, so it would be interesting to see if that can be used, in a pen form without it continually drying on the surface, which would be one of the things with pigment inks too. And pigment inks are just so thick, I don't know if they would feed by capillary action into some sort of like felt tip. And I don't think it would, pigment inks would just be way too thick for like an extra fine, like a 0.7 millimeter, type of delivery. It would have to be something like this. But these acrylic paints and these 3 millimeter pens are really thin so that they feed and, don't clog. So I don't know. It would probably have to. I don't know how it would work to have a pigment ink pen. Maybe it would have to have some kind of roller mechanism or something like that going into it. But it would be hard to keep it kind of feeding. It would have to be a thinner pigment ink, though. But one of the things about thinner pigment inks is that you would move it towards a lot more transparency because it would be diluted probably. But then if you start moving into that, maybe you should. We're talking about just getting acrylic pens, and there's a million different varieties of those out there as is. But if you're talking about you like those colors of those ones, then that would be kind of cool. What is the tip on that Marvy pen on this one right here? Well, they call these brush markers. Okay, so this is the Marvy brush marker 1500 series. Okay, it's not like a brush marker like a like an alcohol pen or something like that, but it is, real. Now this pen is like super dry, okay, but it's a big, thick brush marker, and this is the one. These are the types of pens right here. This is what they look like now, brand new. It has this black barrel, but these are the pens that are really great for coloring this type of thing, or just large stamps. Like if I wanted to color something like this waterfall stamp with pens and I wanted different colors in the impression, I didn't just want to stamp it black and then color it in, but if I wanted areas of this stamp to be multi-toned in the impression itself, then these are the pens to do it with, okay? Because they're large and you can get a lot of surface area coverage with it. If we try coloring something like this with, your Tombows and fine point pens like that, this type of surface right here is just going to work like a sandpaper across it, and it's really going to shred it. Now this pen right here is a little bit shredded. This is like 35 years old probably, and I've been using it over these types of images over that amount of time. But it doesn't matter because I'm not using this for like a detailed coloring in type of pen. It's more of coloring something like this and then stamping it out. Okay, so everyone used to use 1500 series Marvy brush markers for all of that type of thing. I would say, I don't know if I don't think it's an exaggeration to say like every stamper used to use those, because you'd have these types of pens that people would be coloring their stamps with. And then people had either the Tombows or La Plume pens, the double-sided ones, to color in images if they were like outline styles of a stamp imagery. But for, I don't know, people know like Posh Impressions, Dee Grunig. She was the one, I think, that introduced Marvy brush markers to the stamping world, because she had all of these very bold images, ornaments with solid black or something like that, in the image itself. But, when you color them in, they're rubber. But you really needed a lot of ink for her styles of really bold images. So that's where the Marvy brush markers came into play. And then years later, they came out with, Marvy matchable stamp pads and re-inkers and stuff like that. But before then, we were going through, and when the pens were out of ink, everyone was tossing them out. These days, if you have these pens, it might change the consistency of it, but I would imagine if I needed to, I could probably re-ink something like this. Like I said, it's going to be a different color, but, here's a light summer sky or something like this, or this Memento ink Bahama Blue. You know what I mean? If you didn't have if you had a re-inker for your Bahama Blue Memento ink, you can probably re-ink your number 10 light blue Marvy pen or something like that. Like I always say, it's better than just tossing it out. If you ink it up and it doesn't feed as well or something like that, then just toss it out or whatever. But, these pens can really last a long time. And if you do change the color of the actual native color of these things, and I don't know, put a little, piece of tape around it or something like that, just so it's like a diluted version or a little bit of a different version than that pen, if that really matters to you. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, so Stacy, yeah, speaking of Memento Bahama Blue, yeah. Let's see. 20 years ago. What was 20 years ago? I didn't see that. What did someone... what was 20 years ago? I missed that one. Oh, Sakura had a gel pen whose ink became puffy. Oh, it was Sakura, huh? Souffle. See, this is awesome. Someone knows that answer in here. So it becomes puffy after you wrote with it. So you write with it and it kind of raises up or something like that. I was wondering if that was like a thicker style of paint in order to get that mass behind it. I wonder if I have that. Let me see something. Okay, this is something that I got years ago. Not to bore everyone here, but I'm just kind of curious. But see this right here? Sakura, right? Professional Demonstrators Kit. Let me see here. I wasn't working with them or something like that. They just sent it to me. I don't even know if they asked. But let's see here. Someone is at my door here. Hold on a second, please. Does anyone see that puffy pen in here? That was Amazon dropping off something. Let me see. Permapaque. It says it's an opaque pigment marker. And I, as you can see, I've used these all the time. I'm joking here. Anyone remember permapaque? Okay. Yeah, the slow crafter. It's on the Uchida website, so there's I don't know how many pens there are. They also come in sets of pens too. Let's see. Good night, Tammy. 5 a.m. Thanks for checking out the live stream. Galaxy markers. Ah, huh. Let's see. Here's a bunch of microns here. Oh, look at this pen touch right here. The pen touch white was really great. I always use the pen touch white. It was very. I think it was similar. I think it was an acrylic paint pen. Okay, and the other one from Marvy was more of a. An oil-based one, but let me see here. Identity pen? Whatever, I don't know what that is. So here's some golds here, black. Everyone remember the outliner? You know, it draws with an outline. It's silver in the middle and it has a little bit of an outline of color on the outside. What is this? Sumo grip. Oh, it's just a pencil or pen? I'm not sure. It might be a pen. Look at this. This is to show you how old this is. This is like yellowed here. I don't think. Oh, here's the jelly rollers. I bet you that this not even work anymore. I didn't use a lot of this stuff because I wasn't using this type of thing in my scenes. Look at this. It works just fine. I've never used it before. There was one type of pen, maybe it was the jelly rollers, that worked really well for a crafting, you know, for a gel pen. And there was other ones that just, I don't know, some of them never worked from the get-go. Yeah. If you've been crafting long enough, you know what I'm talking about with that. But, all right, these are all jelly rollers. Okay, so I don't have any of that puffy one. The, I already forgot the name of it. Souffle, right? Okay. Over the right. Look, wait. What? The green lid over on the right. Oh, are you talking about this one right here? This one's another permapaque. Well, let's see what that is. Oh my God, it's like a big. It just looks like a regular pen. Let's see. I think it's double-sided, so it's like a 2mm and like a chisel tip. Yeah. It's not puffing up for me. Okay, so no. Oh, it says it right here. I didn't even look. I'm looking at some of this stuff. You know, I wasn't going to use, you know, I mean, you know, they sent this kit to me, but I'm not using, you know, like microns, you know, and stuff like that in my scenes. Okay. But here it was right here. Okay, oh, so the permapaque, you can use it on like pants. You like jeans or something, you know. Someone would use it like that. The pen touch, jelly roll, you probably know that. Pigma Technologies. Archival recording, highlight text, okay. Oh, can, you know, the microns and stuff like that are permanent. Okay, well, I thought there was a chance there when someone said that. You know, when you guys mentioned that Sakura, I thought, oh, maybe I have that, you know, in this thing right here. I've hardly ever used it before, but and of course this is like really old too, so yeah. Interesting, huh? Galaxy, yeah, you know, it's interesting kind of discussing all these types of things here because there's a lot of these pens that I forgot about. Some of them are kind of ringing a bell a little bit, but some of them, you know, I don't think I've even heard of. There are a lot of things being released at one point in time, and I don't know. I might have been like the last person to find out about, you know, all of the different incarnations and different types of media out there available to us. But and some of it's gone, I don't know. But yeah, that's right, Kay. I've always had this right on my, thing. I don't know, this stuff, I mean, I never used one of those pens before in my life, but look at that. It's like brand new, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to take a look through here. There's, like I said, there's not too much in here that I think I would use that's going to be applicable to what I'm doing. That's better than, like some of these pens like this, like I don't know, the Jelly Roll Ball. I think I would use my acrylic paint pens more than that these days, and with the glitter and metallics and something like that. But oh, not the green marker, the thin green marker. What? Let me see. Not this one. That's the. Is that what that was called? Identi pen. Okay, but you mean this one right here. This is the Jelly Roll. I think. There's the green. You said the green cap, right? Yeah, these ones right here are all Jelly Rolls right here. Uh-oh. You dropped your Pepsi. Hopefully not on your any kind of device, electrical device. Let me see. What is this right here? Sakura of America, John Crook, Marketing Communications. Huh. Well, anyway. Interesting going through here. I want to see that souffle pen. I want to see something that a three-dimensional type of things like that. Oh, they are. That's interesting to me, Kate, because I would have thought the souffles would be like this, like thicker, where it's like really raised or something like that. Huh. Yeah. Well, let me see here. Are these? Yeah, these are 100% Jelly Rolls. Okay, so you have that glitter version right here, like in the cap. Did someone mention, are the souffles discontinued, or are they no longer around anymore? Huh. Uh-oh. That cat's gonna enjoy that bath tonight, huh? Just like all cats love it, huh? Taking a bath. All right. Well, it's like a trip down memory lane with all of you in these videos like that, When I pulling out a Vivid pad, like that. It always surprises me that these Vivid pads work. I'll like pull one out every like couple years and it's like, oh my gosh, that's still working. But the Vivid pads, oh, I'm not going to go grab them all right now, but I used to love the Vivid pad line because there were so many different blue versions in there. Not like there wasn't the Manganese Blue, but that they had all kinds of different versions of blue, the little slightly greenish blue, Caribbean blue, light, medium, and dark blue. And they were all pretty light, but I don't know. Clear Snap, it seemed like they kind of went in the direction of more of the pigment inks, right? And I don't remember. I mean, they just discontinued the Vivid line pretty early on after all these other types of inks came out. But I'm trying to remember if they had any other types of dye-based inks. And of course, Stampin' Up! Bought Clear Snap at one point in time. I thought it was so that they would have a company making their own, pads, but I don't know, they kept those companies separate, and I don't know, I was surprised that, Clear Snap, went, whatever, out of business. I don't know if Stampin' Up's still going strong or not. Not like years past, but I don't know if they're still going on, because they would have to get their pads from somewhere else now instead of their own pad, manufacturing plant. I don't know. So, The souffles got donated, huh? What if they come back like in a big way? Oh, Stacy, thank you. They got the souffle pens, huh? I wonder if it's old stock or if they're still making it. It's kind of interesting. It seems like it's, I don't know of too many other pens that are out there that rise or whatever. I'll take a look at that after this video here. I'm kind of curious to see the examples on there and how kind of raised it becomes. Like an embossed raise or something like that, or become, puffy or whatever, huh? Oh, it was a Marvy snow marker, Annie? Huh. Oh, huh. Marvy's got a lot of different stuff, See, that's the type of thing that Marvy, like a snow marker or something like that, I think the general stamping public, or also some kids, might like using that type of pen. That's why they discontinued that type of pads, They have a lot of other types of things. Yes, thank you, Cindy. Hit that thumbs up. It'll help me help get the word out on the channel for this software subscription I have to pay for with this thing. But yeah. All right, so I'm going to sign off here. People got me thinking about food, when we first started this one with the burgers, Someone probably had enough time to go eat and come back. But let's see this card again. This card should be completely dry by now. Like I said, we'll have to spray seal it. But again, you can, you don't have to spray seal this, but up here, if you spray seal white pigment ink, okay, don't spray it too much, okay? Otherwise, it might become a little bit more translucent and not as bright. And if it does, okay, and if it isn't as white or bright as you want it anymore, okay, then just go right over the top of the spray sealant and add more, okay, on top of that. And then you can, hit it again with a little bit more spray sealant, but hit it thin, with a thinner layer on there, okay? And the same thing down here. You want this to be reasonably reflective down here, so don't give it too much of a coating if you do, or don't just avoid this center section completely, and you won't get that kind of that frosted look. On this card though, I'm wondering if it would really matter. I guess, see that moon down there? If this was kind of more of like a frosted aluminum or something like that, it's not going to be as reflective. So, just hit this area down here, like maybe the corner areas with a little bit of spray sealant, like a gloss spray or something like that, and you should be good. But anyways, I like this card, but the thing that surprises me here too is this kind of this closing and opening like that. And it really does look like a wave is coming in or something like that, rolling in through here, which I really like that kind of look of. So I don't know, we might be able to do something with that. Like even don't have a moon in there. And like I said, to just have some bands of clouds so that when you use it with this Seaside Cove image like that, it'll look like rolling waves, right? It's a set of waves coming in. All right, so thanks again. A lightning scene, I guess, maybe, huh? The next time. We'll do something like that. Maybe tomorrow or whatnot. We'll get that burger, Froggy Fresh, get that cat, and get that little kitty, cleaned up and whatnot. I don't know, Cindy. Tomorrow, my son's. I gotta go pick him up. He's not graduating tomorrow from high school, but he's in the band, so he's got to play in the graduation ceremony. So I don't even know what time that is because we just found out that he had to play like yesterday. It's like, oh, you got to play at that? We thought we were done, with the school year. So I need to find out when I'm picking him up. Souffle pens don't work well on it. Peels the vellum. Oh, peels off because it needs to be porous of a surface. Well, that makes sense, I guess, if it's kind of raising like that. Yeah, slow crafter, go get those souffle pens back. We're going to be using them all the time. But this is the thing that I used to like about those kind of raised types of pens, like the one maybe Annie was talking about too, is people would use the white one for like snow or something like that. And I've seen people use kind of raised types of elements, like in the waves down here and like in that foam or, that spindrift or something like that on the crest of the waves. And that was always kind of interesting to incorporate some sort of three-dimensional media into those types of areas like that. Good night, Jeannie. Have a good rest of evening. Thanks, Crystal Fire, Cindy, Bugs, CJ, Froggy Fresh, everyone else if that is on still. Thanks for joining in, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for another. Are we doing the lightning in a mirror card format? Maybe I should, because I haven't done that before. Should be interesting. Should be an easy one too. Maybe I'll bring in that Lakeside Cove, and I'll just show you a really fast application of a couple images in that type of setting like that. So yeah, so you have it. There you have it. Moon in the Isles or something like that. I'll think of some name. All right, Slow Crafter, we'll see you. Beverly, good to see you again, as always. Let's see.